Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. An ancient silence rested across the cosmic chamber as the oldest being in the universe opened his eyes for the first time in 100,000 years. His awakening was slow, like a star forming from dust, and every creature in the hall felt a heavy pressure take over their bodies. They had gathered from every corner of the galaxy. Proud empires, feared warlords, and cold machine minds, each one believing they ruled their own part of space. But all of them became still the moment the ancient entity looked at them. He was taller than any species there, shaped like a figure made of starlight and shadow, with a face that seemed to change with every blink. Some believed he was created before the birth of the first galaxy. Others believed he was never created at all, that he simply appeared when time itself began. None of them had ever heard him speak. Until today. The Alien Council had called him because of one simple question, a question they believed could change the galaxy. Should they take Earth? Many saw Earth as weak, a small blue world with simple humans. Its defenses were nothing compared to star empires. Its ships were slow. Its weapons were old. Most leaders believed Earth was an easy target, something they could conquer in a single cycle. But there were whispers, old rumors, forgotten legends that said Earth was marked by something from the past. These rumors only made the aliens more curious. They wanted resources, land, and dominance, and Earth was in their path. So they demanded the entity rise and give his opinion. When he finally spoke, the chamber shook as if space itself trembled. His voice was deep, calm, but filled with power older than light. "Do not touch Earth," he said. His voice echoed through every mind, natural or artificial. Some aliens felt fear. Others felt insulted. A few laughed because they believed no planet could scare them. But no one interrupted him. The entity lifted his hand, and the air around the council changed. The walls disappeared, replaced with a huge vision of space, dark, empty, endless. The vision zoomed toward a battlefield filled with broken fleets. Giant ships floated dead, torn open, weapons melted into liquid metal. No bodies remained. Not even dust. Entire armies were erased from existence as if they had never lived. The aliens stared in horror. The entity spoke again, his tone quiet but commanding. "This is what happens to those who attack Earth." The council room fell silent. The leaders looked at one another, but no one wanted to speak. The vision changed again. They saw planets burned black, not from weapons but from something invisible and unstoppable. They saw stars collapse, not into black holes but into nothing, disappearing like candles blown out. They saw timelines split, twist, and vanish. All of this destruction was connected to one single point, a small blue world surrounded by a faint golden light. Earth. The entity lowered his hand, and the visions vanished. The chamber returned to normal. He looked at the council, his eyes like swirling galaxies. "This is my warning," he said. "Do not touch Earth. Do not approach Earth. Do not think of Earth as prey." Some leaders felt their insides freeze from fear. Others grew angry, feeling insulted by a warning they did not understand. The leader of the Carthan Empire, a proud warrior species with metal skin and burning eyes, stepped forward. "Why?" he demanded. "Why protect them? What makes humans so special?" The entity did not blink. "They are not special," he said. "They are not chosen. They are not powerful." The aliens looked at one another in confusion. If Earth was not powerful, why protect it? The Carthan leader shouted again. "Then explain. Why should we fear a world that cannot fight us?" The entity's voice grew colder. "I do not protect them. I warn you to protect yourselves." A wave of unease spread across the chamber. The entity continued. "Earth is not alone. Earth has a guardian. It sleeps now, but it will wake. And when it wakes, nothing you know will survive." The council began to whisper among themselves. A few believed him. Most did not. They thought he was trying to scare them, trying to control them. They saw humans as tiny creatures with no idea of the galaxy or its dangers. The Zather speaker clicked her sharp jaws. "Your stories sound like old myths," she said. "We do not fear myths." The machine delegates blinked their bright blue lights. "Your warning lacks data," they said. "We require proof." The entity only watched them. He did not argue. He did not explain any further. He knew they would not listen. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet, almost sad. "I have shown you more than any being has seen in thousands of years. But you still wish for war. So I will speak only once more." He paused, as if choosing his final words carefully. "If you attack Earth, you will not die. You will never have lived." No one understood what that meant. But everyone felt the chill in his voice. The council leader rose, his wings spreading wide. "The council will vote," he announced. "We do not fear a small planet." A few aliens shouted in agreement. Others hesitated but followed the majority. The ancient entity watched them with empty eyes, knowing what was coming. The vote was taken. The result was clear. The council decided to attack Earth. And in that moment, the chamber lights flickered as if the universe itself reacted. The entity closed his eyes again, whispering only to himself. "They have chosen their end." The hook ends with the alien fleets preparing for war, completely unaware of what waits for them near the blue planet they think is weak. The alien scout ship Cora 7 moved silently through the dark ocean of space, its metal surface reflecting faint starlight as it approached the forbidden blue world the Council had chosen to attack. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense. The crew of 5 worked quietly, each one pretending they felt brave, but none of them could forget the warning the ancient entity had given. Even those who mocked him had felt a strange fear deep inside, a fear they refused to admit. Commander Rel, a tall soldier with silver scales and glowing red eyes, stood at the front of the ship, watching Earth grow larger on the screen. It looked peaceful, too peaceful. A small world of water and clouds, floating alone and defenseless. "Humans," Rel muttered. "Tiny creatures. Weak minds. Primitive tools. Why would the oldest being in the universe protect them?" No one answered. Not because they agreed, but because each one felt something strange happening. The navigator, Leary, tapped her control panel repeatedly. "Commander, the system is glitching again," she whispered. "I keep losing navigation locks." Rel turned toward her. "Fix it." "I can't," she said. "The readings make no sense. It's like space around Earth is bending." The word hung in the air like a threat. Space did not bend. Not unless something powerful was nearby. The engineer, a quiet creature with 4 arms, checked the energy coils. "Commander," he said slowly, "our engines are working, but the readings are wrong. The ship thinks we're both moving and not moving at the same time." Rel frowned. "That's impossible." "I know," the engineer whispered, "but it's happening." Outside the ship, Earth's blue glow flickered for a second, as if someone had dimmed the light of the planet and turned it back on. No natural planet should do that. Leary's voice broke the silence. "Commander, I think something is scanning us." The crew turned toward her. "What do you mean?" Rel asked. "Who is scanning us?" Leary shook her head, her antenna trembling. "Not who. Something." Rel moved to her station. The control screen flashed with symbols none of them recognized. Strange circles. Patterns. Lines of light. "This isn't human tech," Rel said. "And it's not from any alien empire." The room suddenly darkened. The lights flickered. The temperature dropped. Every breath became cold mist. Then something spoke inside their minds. Not through speakers. Not through translators. Directly inside their thoughts. It was a voice made of echoes, deep, calm, and terrifyingly old. "You were warned." Every crew member froze. Their hearts raced. Their bodies felt heavy, as if an unseen hand pressed them into their seats. The medic screamed, covering his ears even though there was no sound. Rel tried to speak, but his voice cracked. "Identify yourself." The voice answered immediately. "I am the Guardian." The ship shook violently. Lights exploded. Sparks flew from the walls. The engineer fell to the floor. "We're losing power," he shouted. "Everything is shutting down. Engines, weapons, shields, everything." The crew panicked as the ship drifted powerless toward Earth. Alarms blared. Warning lights turned red. But the strange voice continued, calm as before. "You were told not to come." Rel tried to take control of the ship manually, but the controls did not respond. They melted under his claws, turning soft like liquid metal. The ship was no longer theirs. "What do you want from us?" Rel shouted. The voice replied, "To protect the balance." The medic sobbed. "Please, let us go. We didn't mean. You came by choice." Suddenly, the screen at the front of the ship turned white, brighter than any star. The crew shielded their eyes, but the light passed through their hands. It felt warm, ancient, and unbearably powerful. When the light faded, Earth was gone from the screen. The stars were gone too. Everything outside the ship was replaced by a thick white mist. "Where are we?" Leary whispered, shaking. No one had an answer. Not even the ship's AI could calculate their location. It simply repeated one sentence: "Coordinates not found. Space not recognized." Rel felt fear crawl across his skin. "Guardian," he said, forcing his voice to stay steady, "what is this place?" The voice answered, "A quiet place. A place no one returns from." The crew froze. "You're going to kill us?" Rel said. "No," the voice replied. "Death is a release. You will not die." The white mist outside the ship began to swirl, forming shapes, shadows of creatures the crew couldn't understand. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. They moved closer to the ship, surrounding it like hungry ghosts. Leary whispered through tears, "Commander, they're watching us." Rel swallowed hard. "Guardian, why do this?" The voice spoke one last time, heavy like the end of a star. "Because Earth must remain untouched. And you chose not to listen." The ship vibrated as the white mist swallowed it whole. The crew screamed as reality twisted, stretched, and folded around them. Light broke apart. Time shattered. Sound disappeared. And the scout ship Cora 7 vanished completely, erased from the galaxy as if it had never existed. Back at the council, the ship's signal blinked once, twice, and then went dark forever. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Simply gone. The alien council stared at the empty screen in shock. Some felt fear. Others refused to believe what they saw. One thing was clear. The first ship that approached Earth did not return. And somewhere near the silent blue planet, something ancient had opened its eyes. The council chamber was filled with noise, fear, and anger as news of the lost scout ship spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Every empire received the same message. Cora 7 had vanished without warning, without debris, without a signal. One moment the ship was there, the next it was gone. No explosion. No distress call. Nothing. It was as if the ship had been erased from existence, just like the ancient entity had warned. The leaders gathered again, their voices sharp and filled with panic. The Carthan Empire's representative slammed his fist against the metal table. "This is impossible. Our ships do not simply disappear. Something must be hiding the signal." The machine delegate responded with cold logic. "We analyzed the last transmission. Space itself changed around the ship. This is not a normal attack." The Zather speaker hissed. "A trick. The humans must have developed some hidden weapon." But deep inside, even she did not believe it. Humans were too primitive. Their ships used old engines. Their armies were small. Their technologies were simple. It made no sense that Earth could do anything to a scout ship built by one of the strongest empires. The council leader spread his wings and stood tall. "We must examine the data carefully," he said. "Show the recording from the final moments." The room darkened as the hologram activated. The last seconds of Cora 7's journey appeared above the table. First, it showed Earth, A quiet blue world with clouds covering peaceful oceans. Then the signal grew distorted. White light. A strange mist. Energy readings far beyond anything known. And then, nothing. The hologram cut to black. The chamber fell silent. The machine delegates blinked uneasily, something they rarely did. This is not human technology. The words spread cold fear through the chamber. The Zather speaker leaned forward. Then who did this? Who is protecting Earth? The Carthan representative glared at her. The ancient entity gave us warnings but no answers. He knows more than he tells us. All eyes turned to the ancient entity, who stood at the back of the chamber, arms crossed, face unreadable. He had been silent since the council voted to attack Earth. The council leader called out, "Ancient One, step forward." Slowly, with the quiet confidence of someone older than time, the entity walked to center of the room. The chamber floor dimmed beneath his feet. His presence alone made several leaders step back. "You warned us about Earth," the council leader said. "Our ship disappeared. Tell us what happened to it." The entity closed his eyes as if listening to distant echoes. When he opened them, galaxies seemed to move inside his pupils. "Your ship entered forbidden space," he said simply. "Earth is not what you think. It has a guardian." The Carthan leader growled. "A guardian that can erase ships? You expect us to believe such nonsense?" The entity tilted his head. "Believe what you want. But your ship is gone. And so will the next one. And the next." Murmurs of fear spread through the room. Some leaders whispered that they should stop the mission. Others, too proud to admit fear, demanded answers. One of the machine minds projected a rotating image of Earth. "Explain this guardian. What is it? A weapon? A creature? A machine?" The entity shook his head. "It is older than all of you. Older than me. It has watched Earth for ages." "Why?" the Zather speaker snapped. "Humans are weak." The entity looked at her with something that almost resembled pity. "Humans are not the reason Earth is protected. They simply live there." Silence dropped like a heavy stone. This idea shook the leaders. If Earth was not special, then something else, something far older, made Earth untouchable. The council leader tried to regain control. "Ancient One, if this guardian is so powerful, then why not explain its nature? Why hide this information?" The entity's voice grew colder. "Because you would not understand. And you would not accept it." The chamber trembled slightly. Some thought it was the entity's power. Others feared it was something far worse. One of the smaller species, a fragile race known for their intelligence, raised a trembling hand. "Ancient One, did the Guardian destroy the ship?" The entity replied, "No. It removed it." Shock spread across the council. Removed? From space? From time? From existence? The Carthan representative shouted, "Enough! We are the strongest army in this galaxy. We will not be frightened by myths and mysterious warnings." He slammed a button on the table. A huge hologram of a massive alien fleet appeared. Thousands of warships, cannons, fighters, carriers. "This is the force we will send to Earth," he declared. "Let the Guardian face our full power." The chamber erupted in chaos. Some cheered. Some panicked. Some begged them to reconsider. The ancient entity watched with a look of deep disappointment. "You are blind," he said softly. "You think your weapons matter. You do not know what waits near Earth." His words were ignored. Pride was louder. Anger was louder. Fear hid behind arrogance. The council leader struck his staff against the ground. "Order!" he commanded. The chamber quieted. He looked at the entity. "We respect your age and wisdom. But the council has made its decision. We cannot back down because of one missing ship." The entity slowly turned away. "Then more will vanish," he said. "And soon you will learn that some warnings are not threats, but mercy." The council leader raised his hand. "Prepare the attack fleet." His words echoed through the hall with the force of a final judgment. Across the galaxy, engines ignited, soldiers armed themselves, and massive ships began to rise from their dark docks. Entire empires prepared for war. But no one, not even the bravest, could shake the strange cold fear that crept down their spines. Somewhere near Earth, something ancient had awakened, and it was waiting. The attack fleet moved across the galaxy like a metal storm, thousands of warships glowing with blue, red, and silver engines as they prepared to reach Earth. Every empire had sent its strongest ships, dreadnoughts longer than cities, carriers filled with fighters, machines programmed for war, and soldiers who believed no planet could stand against them. The commanders of each fleet spoke with confidence, but deep inside, none of them forgot the disappearance of Cora 7. Still, pride was louder than fear. The Carthan Empire led the armada, their flagship Iron Tempest, shining with golden armor and deadly weapons. Commander Valos, one of the most feared leaders in the galaxy, stood at the center of the bridge. His metal-plated skin shimmered, and his burning eyes scanned the star map. Earth was marked in the distance, a small glowing dot. "We will reach Earth in 3 cycles," an officer reported. Valos nodded. "Good. Ready the weapons, charge the cores, and prepare for full strike formation." But even as he spoke, something unusual happened. The stars around them flickered. Not like normal star movement, but like someone was turning the lights off and on. The machine ships detected it first. "Warning," one of them announced. "Spatial instability detected." The other ships ignored the message and continued forward. However, within minutes, small things began going wrong. Fighter ships lost their navigation for a few seconds. Communication signals scrambled. Energy readings spiked randomly. Officers shouted orders, trying to understand what was happening. "Is this an attack?" someone yelled. "No," answered a machine mind. "This is something else." As the fleet moved deeper into the region near Earth, the strange events increased. Lights dimmed on ships. Radar systems showed objects that disappeared instantly. The stars behind them looked different, as if they shifted places. The crew started whispering that the area felt wrong, like the galaxy itself was bending. The closer they came to Earth, the stronger the feeling became. Then, without warning, the fleet dropped out of hyperspeed. Alarms blared. Every ship flashed red lights. Valos roared, "Why are we stopping? Who ordered this?" The pilot's voice shook. "Commander, no one ordered it. Something forced us out." Forced an entire fleet out of hyperspeed? That was impossible. Unless something extremely powerful intervened. The fleet hung in silence in the dark space near Earth. The blue planet glowed softly, looking harmless. Too harmless. The ships slowly formed a defensive circle, preparing for attack. But no attack came. Earth did nothing. No missiles. No lasers. No shields. It simply floated under its sun, like a peaceful world unaware of the danger above. The commanders grew confused. The Zathar general hissed through comms. "Where are the humans? Why are they not reacting? Are they weak or stupid?" "Neither," a quiet machine voice answered. "Something is wrong here." Suddenly, a cold wave of energy spread through space. It passed through every ship like a chill wind, making soldiers gasp and machines glitch for a moment. The lights flickered across the armada. Valos clenched his fists. "Report." "Unknown energy field," an officer replied. "It seems intelligent." The entire fleet turned its weapons toward Earth, ready to fire. And then, everything went silent. All screens turned black. All engines froze. All weapons shut down. Thousands of ships hung dead in space. Panic erupted. "Restart the systems. We've lost control. Backup power is gone. No signal from anything." The machine ships went into emergency mode, but even they could not reboot. Valos gripped the command rail. "Who is doing this?" he growled. Only silence answered. Then, The stars blinked out. One by one, stars across the sky vanished, swallowed by darkness. Officers screamed. Soldiers fell to their knees. Machines repeated warnings with broken voices. They weren't stars fading naturally. Something was covering them. No, not covering. Approaching. Out of the darkness, shapes formed. Massive shapes. Tall shapes. Moving like shadows with glowing eyes. First 1. Then 5. Then 100. Then thousands. They were enormous. Bigger than ships, bigger than mountains. Made of light and darkness swirling together. Each one stared at the fleet. Valos felt something he had never felt in his entire life. His heart shaking in fear. "Identify them," he whispered. The machine minds tried, but their voices cracked. "These are not creatures. Not ships. Not weapons." "Then what?" asked the Zather general. The machine answered in a trembling voice no one had ever heard from a machine before. "They are guardians." The shadows moved slowly, surrounding the entire fleet. Every ship was trapped. No escape. No movement. No control. Earth still did nothing. The humans still did not react. Because humans were not the threat. The shadows closed in. One of them leaned close to the flagship, so close its glowing eyes filled the entire bridge. Every soldier felt its gaze in their bones. A voice, deep and ancient, spoke across every ship without sound, without air, without permission. "Leave." The word echoed inside every mind, burning, shaking, warning. Soldiers screamed. Machines malfunctioned. Commanders collapsed. Valos felt his knees weaken, something he never thought possible. The shadows repeated the word again. "Leave." The fleet tried to escape, but their engines wouldn't start. Weapons dead. Shields dead. Systems dead. It was like the shadows were holding the fleet in place with invisible hands. Then, in a single moment, all power returned to the ships. The screens turned on. Engines roared. Lights flashed. The shadows vanished instantly, as if they were never there. Only one message remained on every screen in every ship: "Do not touch Earth." Valos stared at the message, his hands shaking. The fleet had one choice: retreat or die. And every commander knew the truth. Attacking Earth meant destruction. Slowly, silently, the massive fleet began to turn away. But deep inside, everyone felt the same fear. If this was only a warning, what would happen if they disobeyed again? The cosmic entity's presence spread across the silent void, a heavy pressure that seemed to bend space itself, and every ship around Earth froze as if trapped inside invisible chains. The alien fleet, once confident and hungry for invasion, now trembled in absolute fear because they finally understood what the warning truly meant. This entity was not just old, it was ancient beyond imagination, older than galaxies, older than light, older than time itself. And now it was awake, watching them with eyes that looked like burning stars ready to collapse. Captain Rel, who once believed humans were weak and unprotected, felt his throat close as the creature's voice echoed inside his mind. It was not a sound. It was a feeling, a vibration that reached down into his bones and made him feel like a child standing before a cosmic storm. The entity spoke slowly, almost gently, but the power behind each word was stronger than any weapon ever created. "You were warned," it said, and every soldier, every commander, every living being in every ship felt the weight of those words press into their souls. Rel tried to move, tried to speak, tried to command his ship to retreat, but nothing worked. The engines were frozen, the controls dead, the crew shaking so badly they could barely remain standing. Somewhere deep within Earth's orbit, detection stations watched in terror as the alien fleet hung in the air like insects caught in amber. Humans did not know what was controlling them, but they could sense something massive and terrifying approaching. Meanwhile, in the alien flagship, panic grew. Some officers prayed. Some fainted. Some cried quietly as the entity's presence pressed harder against them. Rel forced himself to look at the planet below. Earth spun quietly, blue and calm, as if unaware of the threat above it. But the entity knew. The entity remembered. And the aliens finally understood that Earth was not a random world. It was chosen, protected by something so old and powerful that even star-eating civilizations would never dare to approach. The entity drifted closer, moving without moving, as if reality reshaped itself to carry it forward. Every star around it flickered as if bowing in fear, and even space itself rippled. "You touched what you should not touch," the entity said, and the temperature inside every ship dropped sharply. Frost formed on metal walls. Breath turned to mist. Heartbeats became painful. The entity was not attacking them physically. It was showing them the truth. They were nothing to it. Not enemies. Not threats. Not even worth destroying. Only foolish children who had poked something far beyond their understanding. Rel's mind flashed with memories. The council meeting where they had decided to invade, the greedy leaders who wanted Earth's resources, the scientists who ignored the ancient warning they had found near a dying star. They thought the warning was a joke, a myth, something written by a lost civilization to scare others away. But it was real. Too real. "Why, Earth?" Rel whispered, barely able to speak. The entity turned its cosmic gaze directly on him. Rel's skin burned. His thoughts twisted as if they might crack open. But the entity answered. "Earth holds something that must survive," it said. "Something that must grow." What that something was, no one knew. The entity did not explain. It only watched, its presence stretching across the void like the shadow of a dying sun. The alien crew, once mighty conquerors, now felt smaller than dust. Then, without warning, the entity expanded, spreading its light across the alien fleet. There was no explosion, no heat, no scream, just a blinding flash, like a second sun had been born in the darkness. When the light faded, the alien ships remained. But something was different. They could move again. Their systems flickered back to life. But their weapons were gone. Their engines were locked to one direction, away from Earth. And every alien, from commander to engineer, felt something burned into their minds. A memory, a brand, a command they could never forget. "Leave this world," the entity said. "Tell others what happened. Tell them what waits here." Rel gasped as the pressure around him released. He could breathe again. He could think. His crew slowly stood up, shaking as if they had survived a storm made of pure fear. The entity slowly faded, its body dissolving into cosmic dust, but its presence remained like a cold shadow in their minds. The alien fleet turned, not by choice, but by force. Engines ignited, pushing them away from Earth at high speed. No one argued. No one dared look back. Meanwhile, on Earth, satellites detected the sudden retreat. Governments celebrated, believing the aliens had simply given up. But deep underground, in secret research centers, some humans sensed that something much bigger had happened. Something ancient was watching Earth. Something dangerous. Something protective. Rel stared at the stars ahead as the fleet escaped into deep space. He knew they could never return. He knew he must warn the galaxy. And behind him, Earth glowed softly, untouched, protected by a cosmic guardian so powerful that even empires would tremble at its name. The alien commander whispered to himself, "We should have listened. We should never have touched Earth." But the real question was this: why did the entity protect them so fiercely? What was hidden on Earth that the universe feared so much? As the alien fleet escaped into the endless dark, leaving Earth far behind, the cosmic entity's presence faded from their sensors, but the fear it left behind refused to disappear. Captain Rel sat in the command chair, staring silently at the shifting lights of hyperspace, but his mind was somewhere else, back near the blue planet that they had been foolish enough to approach. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the entity's burning gaze, felt the crushing pressure of its voice inside his soul, and remembered the warning that was now carved into his memory forever. But something troubling followed him, a question that refused to leave him alone. Why would such a powerful being protect a small, young world like Earth? His crew whispered the same question among themselves, quietly, afraid to think too loudly as if the entity could still hear them. Some believed Earth held an ancient weapon. Others believed the humans were special, a chosen species destined to rise. Some even thought the ancient being lived beneath the planet's surface and protected it like a home. But no one knew the truth. As fear spread through the ship, Rel ordered a meeting with his senior officers. They gathered in the dim, cold chamber, their faces pale from the recent encounter. The ship's lights flickered now and then as if the entity's power had left some kind of wound inside their systems. Rel leaned forward, his voice low. "We cannot return to our empire with only fear," he said. "We must give them something real. A reason. A warning they will believe." His officers exchanged uneasy glances. They knew he was right. The High Council would demand answers, proof, and clear details about what had forced an entire fleet to retreat without firing a single shot. And if they didn't provide those answers, the Council would simply send more fleets, stronger fleets, straight back to Earth. The thought made Rel's hands tremble. He imagined those fleets crashing into the same invisible wall of terror, imagined the ancient entity tearing reality apart to defend a planet that did not even know it was under cosmic protection. "We must understand Earth," Rel continued, "even from afar." His science officer, Rena, nervously activated the holoscreen. It showed Earth rotating slowly, peaceful and unaware of the chaos it had caused in the galaxy. "We recovered the old data logs from the dead civilization near the Red Star," Rena said quietly. "The same civilization that left the warning." Rel nodded for her to continue. She opened the files, and ghostly images flickered to life, ruins, star systems turned to ash, entire planets carved open as if sliced by a cosmic blade. "This civilization was destroyed," she whispered. "Not by war. Not by invaders." She hesitated. "By something they awakened." The room fell silent. "What did they awaken?" Rel asked. Rena swallowed. "The ancient entity." Shock spread across the room. Officers stiffened, some gripping their chairs tightly. "It wasn't always a guardian," Rena explained. "It was once a destroyer. A being of pure cosmic force. Unstoppable. They tried to control it, and they paid the price." The images on the holoscreen flashed to scenes of burning skies and shattered worlds. But before their extinction, they recorded one last message. The entity changed. It swore to protect one world. Only one. And it warned the galaxy to stay away. Rel stared at the planet on the screen. "Why Earth?" Rena shook her head. "They didn't know. They only wrote that the entity found something on Earth, something it could not allow to be harmed." "A weapon?" another officer asked. Rena hesitated. "Or a life form." The idea chilled the room to the core. A single human. A bloodline. A creature hidden underground? Something still sleeping? Or something that didn't exist yet, but would be born someday? Rel realized the truth hit harder because it made no sense. Why would a cosmic being older than galaxies protect a species barely learning space travel? Before they could discuss further, the ship suddenly shook. Lights flickered. Alarms blared. Officers jumped to their stations. "What now?" Rel shouted. "Engine interference," a pilot yelled. "Something is pulling us off course." Panic rose like a wave. The ship's navigation system spun wildly, dragging them toward a strange region of space, dark, swirling, full of storms of light and shadow. Rena's eyes widened. This region, it wasn't here before. The ship trembled again, harder. "Is it the entity?" an officer whispered, terror creeping into his voice. Rel froze. For a moment, he felt the same crushing presence, the same cold force brushing against his mind. But this time, it felt different. Lighter, weaker, almost curious. Not the ancient entity. Something else. Something smaller. Something new. As the ship was dragged into the swirling storm, a shape emerged in the darkness, a faint, glowing symbol floating in space. It looked like an eye made of starlight. Rena gasped. This is the same symbol the dead civilization recorded before meeting the entity. The symbol pulsed gently, releasing waves of energy that scanned the ship. Not harmful, just searching. Studying. It's scanning us for Earth-related data, Rena whispered. It wants to know what we saw. The symbol blinked slowly. Once. Twice. And then, suddenly, it projected an image directly into their minds. Earth. Shining. Glowing. surrounded by 6 faint lights orbiting it in the cosmic void, lights none of their sensors had ever detected. "What are those?" Rel whispered. Rena's voice shook. "Guardians. Or seeds." The symbol faded. The storm opened. The ship was released. Silence filled the room. Rel finally understood. The entity was not the only thing defending Earth. Something else was waking up. Something younger, but growing fast. And if the galaxy didn't stay away, the next warning might not be a warning at all. The ship drifted in silence after the strange storm released them, and every crew member felt as if the universe had just whispered a secret too big for their minds to hold. Captain Rel stood frozen, staring at the empty space where the glowing symbol had been only moments ago. His heart pounded with confusion and fear, but beneath that fear, a new feeling began to rise: urgency. Something was coming, something connected to Earth, something that did not exist when the ancient cosmic entity first warned the galaxy. Rel looked at his officers. They were pale, shaken, and breathing unevenly, but he saw the same realization in their eyes. On Earth, humans lived normal lives, unaware that the cosmos had placed them in the center of an ancient prophecy. Unaware that something had chosen them. Rena slowly approached, clutching her data tablet. "Captain," she whispered, "the symbol that scanned us, it wasn't just watching. It was searching for something specific." Rel forced himself to speak. "What?" Rena swallowed, her voice trembling. "Human DNA." The room fell into heavy silence. The officers stared at her, unable to understand why a cosmic force would care about such a simple thing. Human DNA was nothing special. Weak. Primitive. Almost childlike compared to advanced species. But the symbol had focused on it with precision. That meant something. That meant humans were part of something bigger. Could it be a mistake? One officer asked hopefully. Rena shook her head. No. The energy signature was exact. It matched the genetic markers of Earth's humans. And more importantly, it was searching for a specific pattern inside human DNA. Something rare. Rel frowned. So the humans carry something? Or they will, Rena said quietly. Something that has not awakened yet. Before anyone could respond, the ship's lights flickered violently. A low hum echoed through the corridors. Every screen turned black for a moment, then flashed with a single warning. Incoming energy wave. The crew scrambled back to their stations. The ship groaned as powerful waves of unknown energy collided with the hull. Rel held onto his chair. Is it the ancient entity again? No, the pilot shouted. Different energy signature. Rel felt his stomach twist. First the entity, then the symbol. Now another energy source. Why was everything connected to Earth suddenly waking up after thousands, maybe millions, of years of silence? The ship trembled harder, and the wave grew stronger. Rena's fingers flew over her console. Captain, this wave is spreading across the galaxy. Not just here. It's everywhere. Every star system is feeling it. Rel felt chills run down his spine. What does it mean? Rena stared at her readings, horrified. Something has awakened. The wave hit again, and this time, a strange pulse moved through the ship like a shock of electricity. It rushed through the walls, through the crew, through Rel's mind. He gasped as visions flashed before him, Earth covered in light, humans standing beneath the sky as something descended from the heavens like a blazing star, shadows bowing, stars shifting out of fear. Rel grabbed the edge of his console as the vision faded, leaving him shaking. He looked at his crew and realized they had seen the same thing. What was that? One officer whispered, horrified. Rena's voice cracked. A message. Not to us. To the galaxy. Something on Earth has awakened, and the universe felt it. The hum slowly faded, and the ship regained stability. The crew stood in stunned silence, trying to understand what was happening. Rel took a deep breath. We need to return to our empire, he said. We must tell them, not just about the entity, not just about the symbol, but about this new awakening. If they ignore us, Earth will not be the only world in danger. The entire galaxy will suffer. The pilot nodded and set the course. The ship jumped into hyperspace, leaving behind the strange storm and the remnants of cosmic energy. But even inside hyperspace, the crew felt uneasy. The vision continued to flicker in their minds, humans glowing, Earth shining like the center of a prophecy, something descending to the planet like a newborn star. Meanwhile, on Earth itself, something subtle was happening. Far below the planet's surface, deeper than any human technology had ever reached, a faint heartbeat pulsed. Slow. Steady. Growing stronger. Every pulse sent a whisper through the crust of the planet, into the oceans, the mountains, the air. Humans felt it in dreams. Animals sensed it and raised their heads at night. Even Earth's magnetic field shifted slightly, like a giant creature stretching its wings in its sleep. Somewhere in a quiet city, a young human, unaware of any cosmic secrets, woke up suddenly from a nightmare, heart pounding, eyes glowing faintly for half a second before returning to normal. They did not understand what was happening to them. They did not know a force older than time had marked them before they were even born. Back in Rel's ship, hyperspace rippled. Something was following them. Rel noticed the distortion behind them and felt dread crawled up his spine. Is that the ancient entity? No, Captain, Rena whispered. This energy, it feels younger, faster, hungry. Rel gripped his chair. Hungry? For what? It's searching for Earth, Rena said. It wants what woke up. Rel realized the truth in one terrifying instant. The entity that protected Earth was not the only cosmic being watching it. Others had been waiting. Waiting for the awakening. And now the galaxy would fight to claim whatever was hidden inside humanity. Rel's ship raced through hyperspace with desperate speed, but the strange young cosmic energy followed them like a predator stalking its prey, closing the distance a little more with every passing moment. The crew felt it pressing against their minds, whispering, searching, hungry for whatever had awakened on Earth. Rel's heart pounded as he watched the distortion behind them grow stronger, twisting hyperspace around it like a black whirlpool. He knew this energy was not like the ancient guardian. It was smaller but unpredictable, wild, and filled with a desire that felt dangerous. The guardianship of Earth had woken something else, something that did not want to protect, but to claim. Rena studied the readings, panic in her voice. Captain, if this being reaches Earth, the entity will not be enough. They will fight. The thought sent terror through the entire room. The ancient cosmic entity was already beyond comprehension, something that could destroy fleets by simply existing. But this new force felt equally powerful in its own young, chaotic way. Two cosmic beings fighting over Earth would tear the galaxy apart. Why Earth? Rel whispered. Why humans? The question had haunted him for days. But now, with the new force hunting them, the question became heavier. What was humanity hiding? What did humans carry inside their DNA that made cosmic beings rise from their sleep? As the ship neared the edge of hyperspace, alarms began to scream. It's breaking in, the pilot cried. Through our rear shields. Hyperspace exploded into blinding white light as the young cosmic force finally broke through. Rel shielded his eyes as the ship was pulled violently out of hyperspace, thrown into normal space, spinning uncontrollably. Stars blurred into streaks until the engines stabilized. But when the crew looked at the screen, their blood turned cold. Hanging before them was a being made of swirling light and shadow, smaller than the ancient entity but filled with a burning intensity. Its form twisted like a star being born, its edges crackling with power. Rel staggered back. What is that? Rena spoke in a trembling whisper. A newborn cosmic. A young star soul. Something that should still be sleeping inside a nebula. But it woke because Earth woke. The cosmic being drifted closer, its gaze like a spark drilling into the ship. A voice entered their minds, not crushing like the Guardians, but sharp, eager, curious. Show me the world that woke the old one. Rel tried to resist, but the force was too strong. Images of Earth were ripped from his memories. Blue oceans, crowded cities, humans laughing, humans fighting, humans dreaming. The being pulsed with excitement. They are small, weak. Yet something grows inside them. Something the Old One hides. Rel tried to stand tall. Whatever you want from Earth, you cannot take it. The ancient guardian will stop you. The young cosmic laughed, a cold ringing sound that rattled the ship. The Ancient One is fading. Earth's awakening drains it. Soon it will sleep again. The crew froze in horror. If the Guardian slept, Earth would be exposed. The young cosmic leaned forward, light swirling around its core. You fear me. But you fear the wrong thing. The being projected an image into their minds. Earth, shining like a newborn star, surrounded by billions of lights rising from the humans themselves. Something inside their minds, the being said. Something they do not know they carry. Something older than their species. Older than galaxies. Rena gasped. The humans are evolving. The cosmic nodded slowly. They are becoming what the Old One has guarded for ages. They are becoming heirs. Heirs. The word echoed through the ship like a shockwave. Rel's voice cracked. Heirs to what? The cosmic being's voice deepened. To the throne of the cosmos. Silence filled the ship like a suffocating fog. Humans? Heirs to cosmic power? It sounded impossible. Ridiculous. But cosmic beings did not lie. The young cosmic continued, its voice sharp with hunger. The Old One fears the moment humans awaken. It knows they will replace it. But I want to claim them before they rise. I want their power for myself. Rel's heart pounded in his chest. If this being reached Earth, billions would die. The Guardian would fight. Stars would fall. Space would shatter. You cannot go to Earth, Rel said, voice shaking. You will destroy everything. The cosmic tilted its head. Then move aside. Suddenly, the darkness around the being rippled. Space tore open behind it, forming a pathway toward Earth. Rel knew what he had to do. Block the portal, he shouted. Fire all energy reserves. The crew obeyed, launching a desperate blast of power straight at the cosmic being. The blast struck, but the being didn't even flinch. It only grew brighter. Foolish, it whispered. But before the cosmic could attack, the entire universe seemed to freeze. A cold wind, impossible in space, swept through the ship. Every star dimmed. Every planet in every distant system paused. And then, a voice echoed across the cosmos. Old. Powerful. Final. Enough. The ancient guardian reappeared, massive, blinding, unstoppable. The young cosmic recoiled like a child caught stealing fire. You cannot protect them forever, the younger being hissed. Their awakening will come. The ancient guardian moved between the ship and the young cosmic. Not today. The two forces collided, not with explosions, but with pure silence. Space bent. Stars screamed. Time cracked. And then, light. When the light faded, the young cosmic was gone. Banished. The guardian turned to Rel's ship, its voice trembling with exhaustion. You must warn the galaxy. When humans awaken, the universe will change. Prepare them. And then, for the first time, the ancient guardian whispered something Rel never expected. Protect Earth until they are ready. As the guardian vanished, Rel realized the truth. The galaxy was no longer watching Earth. It was waiting for it. Waiting for the day humans would rise and reshape the universe.